Everybody see my screen? All right, looking good. You know what sucks? Trying to make friends as an adult. You really take for granted how easy it is to ask another kid if they want to see a neat bug you found, and suddenly you have a ride or die friend for life. Now, about a decade ago, I wasn't the same friendly, outgoing Duffy you have today. I met most of my adult friend group thanks to attending a local board game night at Labyrinth Games Puzzles, a community-focused game store that opened in 2010. It's been doing very well as a specialty store, mostly due to its branding as a community meeting place. But the COVID-19 pandemic forced them to move away from in-person events and more towards an online store. Instead of browsing shelves, people began clicking through private pages of products, losing that personal touch in the process. To their credit, Labyrinth adapted well and increased their online presence considerably to ship games to customers who weren't able to come to the store, and continue to do so today. The problem is, this has been mostly a purely additive exercise, grafting on components as necessary, resulting in an overwhelming design that makes it difficult to know where to go. The game's dropdown, for example, gives a plethora of local options that make me concerned where I'm going to find a Jenga tower for my friend's birthday. For my P2 UX design project, I decided to revamp the site. To do this, I began with discovery, learning how people shop online and what different competitors are doing that Labyrinth isn't. This let me define the problems so I can compartmentalize the issues and identify the user base and their experience with the site. From there, I iterated different designs and finally delivered a high-fidelity prototype of a more refined Labyrinth website. My first step was user interviews, investigating how people don't just shop for board games, but online in general. I did this by interviewing 4 individuals for about 50 minutes each to get their views on online shopping. My questions primarily focused on how do you like to do your shopping, how do you like things organized when shopping, and how do you like to learn about the things you're shopping for. Comparing the responses, I learned that people primarily like in-person shopping, but are willing to change their mode if the price of the products or the time it takes to get them gets to be too much. They also like to have as much information as possible before finalizing purchase, with some expressing bad online shopping experiences where the product wasn't what they initially thought it was because it didn't read the fine print. I paired this with usability testing of the site by 2 individuals and recorded their reactions. The usability test is where I observe someone as they try to complete certain tasks on a site, gauging how well the site is able to communicate things to the user. Here I found the main issue is less functionality and more organization. People were overloaded with the options from the gold menu, and the hierarchy of images on the home page and faceted filters on product pages were overwhelming. They also had trouble parsing the event calendar, an important feature for a store that has such a large in-person role. A competitive research test was next. This is where I took my target company and its competitors to gauge what each provided the user. I started with different direct competitors like Dream Wizards and Game Castle, companies in the area that also sell board and card games and offer a venue to play them with friends or in the store. I also included indirect competitors like Target, Walmart, and Barnes & Noble, who also sell board and card games, but only as a branch of their wider variety of merchandise. I found that Labyrinth did very well across the board, save for a lack of a review feature, which other sites had, and was actually a selling point for a lot of users when they were shopping. Since my biggest concern with Labyrinth's website was the local and global menus, card sort is in order. This is where I wrote down the names of different pages from the Labyrinth website on a card and had 8 participants group them together as they believed they would be associated. This is intended to reveal how users expect to find things grouped together. I found the similarity matrices and 3D cluster views, which show how often certain terms are grouped together, to be the most useful in seeing how users associate the different local menu items, generally clumping them into 5 specific groups that I'll get to in a moment. With this info, I had enough to start defining the problem. I started with the user interviews and usability tests to form a persona, kind of a template for how UX designers can see a standard customer that use the software or website. Looking at their likes and dislikes can help us fill in what people are looking for in the experience. This frugal spender is a metropolitan resident who's looking for the best bang for their buck within a reasonable amount of time. They want to know all the information up front, like things well organized, being slowed down by confusing menus and unclear instructions. This also helped me form a user journey, which is a narrative that UX designers come up with based on real-world research to inform the user's experience before, during, and after using a website or app. Particular focus is given to how the user would likely feel when trying to complete certain tasks associated with the product. As you can see, the user journey here is mostly neutral to enjoyable, with 2 main pain points: searching the site for products organized a certain way, and looking for when board game nights are. With all this research, I had a pretty good picture of who uses the Labyrinth site and what their experience is like in its current structure. So I can now form a problem statement, a summation of the issues I discovered through my research. Online shoppers need a well-organized and informative website to shop on because they don't want to have to invest a lot of time and effort in purchasing something they get elsewhere for cheaper and easier. Okay, so we have a problem, so let's talk solutions. Let's break it down to smaller questions we can address individually. How might we organize things best for customers? How might we streamline the checkout process? And how might we make users feel comfortable in navigating the website? So I started sketching some ideas. I consolidated the pages per my card sort into 5 global categories: About Us, Games, Puzzles, Toys and More, and Events, with different product pages below them that were previously been global items. This could help address the navigation pain points that are felt by users searching for products and particular events. I also iterated upon the product pages so they'd be better laid out and incorporated reviews as well. I next took a look at checkout and the possibility of integrating different payment options like Apple, Amazon, and Google, and thought about different ways to filter products and events. With these rough ideas, I created a user flow, which is a map for how users will likely go between the points on the website to accomplish their goals. The key focus is being able to make sure that users could find the product page easily, be able to compare options before making a purchase, and find the way to play their games in the store quickly and easily. Now for the fun part. I made a mid-fidelity prototype, an interactive simulation of this new design, in Figma to see where my ideas could work. Let's take a look. So here we have the mid-fidelity prototype. I'm going to first go ahead and look at the About page. Okay, we got a bunch of different factors: blog posts, awards, community, etc. Let's go take a look for the #1 best-selling board game. Go to board games, got a whole list here. Let's sort by bestsellers. Okay, #1 here is Wormspan. I'm going to click on that, scroll through, got some reviews. I'm not sure about that price though, so I'm going to compare this to something else. Okay, let's go back to best-selling and do the same thing for Root, #2. And look at the compare list. Okay, so we have the 2 here. Root looks like it is a little cheaper and also has 5-star average rating review, so I'm going to add to cart. And go to cart and checkout. All right, I'm going to pick it up in store by scrolling down here. Pay by credit card and buy. Got my receipt, and let's see when I can play this in the store. All right, looks like we got board game nights on Thursday, 6 to 10 p.m., and we're looking pretty good. For the most part, my mid-5 prototype went over pretty well with users. I performed usability testing with the new design with 4 individuals over 15 minutes each. They described their process as they went through and provided me with feedback that told me that they were overall satisfied with my redesign of the menus and layouts, but new issues arose regarding how to navigate quickly to best-selling and comparison pages, and noted how the checkout process felt awkward. So I went back to the drawing board, literally, and sketched out some ideas. First, I updated the drop-down menu so it took users directly to best-selling list, made the checkout a little bit cleaner, and added a means of finding the path back to the comparison page using a new icon in the header. So let's take a look at this. So we have our hi-fi prototype here. About Us is moved over to the right, out of the way of the other products there, just for a hierarchy of order. Going through our story, going through awards, all that jazz. And let's go find the #1 best-selling game again. Board games, bestsellers. Got Wormspan again. Going to add this to my list. And now I have a little balancing icon to let me know that that comparison is in order. Let's view that comparison list. We have just Wormspan here now. And let's go ahead and add Root again. Bestsellers, Root, as compared, do compare list. And now I have a balance icon in the upper right to let me know that this is 2 things ready for comparison. Going to add to cart again, and let's go to checkout. Now I have a much more order of operations based checkout. I'm going to pick up in store, fill out my information, pay by credit card, and finally buy. All right, looking pretty good. I'm going to go to events. And yeah, I've updated this page to meet the WCAG AAA standards. This is the main issue I had when I did testing. The text was too small to be read against the green background, so I bolded it. And I have a further report later in my presentation. But yeah. So what comes next? I want to get this updated high-fidelity prototype in front of a new set of volunteers for some usability testing. With the feedback they provide, I can iterate again if necessary. And after that, it's a matter of bringing the findings and prototype to Labyrinth to show how their online presence can be improved. With their approval, I can work with the program and implement these changes, especially including options for new payment systems like Apple, Google, and Amazon, and usability features like alt text and keyboard navigation. Labyrinth did a good job surviving the pandemic by drastically shifting their business model from an in-person pillar of the community to a beacon where people can still get a hold of specialty board games despite needing to isolate. As we return to in-person, they picked right up where they left off and are hosting regular community events again. But with that respite, they have a perfect opportunity to remodel their website so they can be a community focal point both off and on. That way, even more people can make lifelong friends by undermining each other's attempts to collect cardboard tokens. And that's my appendix.